Sweet. Well, like I was telling Michael, I screwed up the times. I should have been making extra efforts to be available earlier rather than later. So, how much time? But there we go. Yeah. So you've been working on uh, updating our JavaScripts.
And yeah, moving some of them out of vendor
Mm-hmm.
and using an npm script to install them
Mm-hmm.
and get back into vendor so that they I don't know, they're using the npm packages.
That sounds sensible.
Um, there are some that I'm not not sure about them, like Comfy and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Thomas just saying website one that he doesn't remember what that is or what it's for.
And a oh Mercury editor and stuff.
Oh, is that what it's used by?
No,
Oh, that's other JavaScripts that we have that need sorting out.
right. But the Mercury editor, I think, I'm not sure whether, like, I don't think that's like a Rails specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that's probably not in an npm somewhere.
Hmm.
It probably doesn't really make much sense for it to be. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, and then, like, if you just look on here,
Look on where your screen's not shared.
oh, these are the ones that are still not vendored. 404, this isn't an npm, but in some ways it doesn't really matter anyway,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not really, I don't know, it's not like a complicated piece of code per se
No,
that like is going to interact with other things.
no, it's like a custom one-off.
Displays that little eye.
Yeah.
Uh, tags, I don't think I found an npm for it.
Mm-hmm.
Found a GitHub issue or
Uh-huh.
someone asking for an npm
Mm-hmm.
last June. There was no reply yet.
Right.
And
I
then
presume. Mm.
when I update token field, there seems to be an npm.
Uh-huh.
And I updated that to one of the versions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's part of the thing. You have to figure out which version.
Right.
Didn't immediately work. It was like breaking, so I just reverted out of that.
Right. Presumably things that aren't in npm, they could be put into npm by us.
Yeah, Confi and Cube Portfolio are both like, I don't know, they look like they're proprietary.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just Mercury's.
Right.
These are it.
Yeah.
Uh, the
Let me.
script itself is simple.
Mm-hmm.
There's a specs folder or a
Right.
scripts folder now.
Uh-huh.
So basically, there's now an app.json where there always was. No, that's not it. Sorry. There's a package.json,
Uh-huh.
which I think is somewhere around here. There's a package.json.
Right.
Where the hell is it at? 1080 automated time. Let me look at this. Unrendered. Right, 1080. Package.json. Just the node, the npm
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a post install script, which
Right.
runs scripts copy under scripts copy JavaScript dependencies,
Oh, okay.
uh, which has a shebang on it for Node.
Right.
It's apparently a shell environment that it runs.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I just use this npm package copy files,
Uh-huh.
and it just goes into all the node modules and plucks out the relevant files
Right.
and puts them in the vendor JavaScript assets.
And that's the approach that John has said that he's using to you.
Well, he didn't exactly tell me how to do it, but he basically said that it's popular now to use npm scripts.
Oh, right. And so you've written this custom file based upon what was easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Interesting.
The thing, I guess, if you wanted to pull it down, you could look at it.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe we would look at our diagnosing memory thing, although I can summarize in as much as, yeah, well, actually, actually he's supposed to look at it as the blog post, possibly, which is the summary is, yeah, there's an improvement from removing the what was it called now?
Time zones.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, it's sort of. It's not so. I mean, it's like a 10% improvement over the 24. Oh, I guess we've like 12 hours. We've left it. I think I put all the images. Can you see the images in here? Yeah. So like, this is what we were seeing on develop before we locked it to have the same workers as develop as production.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, the develop branch after 12 hours, it's on 55%. This is production, ongoing. So clearly there's and look what looks like the whole thing's restarting there. But so then we've got this one here, which is with the nearest time zone removed, and so that after approximately the same amount of time, that's on 43% as opposed to 55% average memory size. So it's definitely an improvement. It's not clear that I guess it certainly shouldn't make things any worse on production. And I guess there's then the question is, yeah, like for the effort of refactoring that out, is it going to avoid us getting into this state that production gets into?
Right.
So we can kind of talk about having finished one phase of the investigation versus now the way forward is like exploring that, seeing if there are other options, more experiments, or bringing a simulation of production under load. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, let me pull that thing that you've started on down.
An idiot on vendor. Yeah.
Yes, I think the thing I would have suggested working on was the I forgot what it's called now. God damn. Participants. Being able to store individual participants. But yeah, there's obviously not time today. Right.
So if you do npm install, or if you check first, hold on. Look in your RubyMine. Are there a lot less JavaScripts in the vendors folder now?
maybe. There are some. I don't remember looking at how many there were before. It looks like it's just updated, and there are fewer. Yes.
Yes, okay. So if you do npm install, you should get back a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
Everything works. Wow, what happened?
It says failed at the core TS type ahead 0.11.1 post install script bower install. Make sure you have the latest version of Node.js and npm installed.
So you probably need to install Bower.
Yeah, yes, I do.
I mean, we don't directly use it, but apparently one of our
Right.
package uses it, so you need it.
Mm-hmm.
You might need to install it globally, but sure, try it again.
Mm. Okay, so that install completed now.
And now if you check the JavaScripts, there should be more of them, hopefully. No?
Yeah, it just took taking time to update. Yeah, it looks like more.
Cucumber. Should. So I guess you could put that in the installation instructions. You could write something.
Indeed.
Saying that you may need to, if you copy that error.
Yeah. Well, we don't even mention. We could. I think we could just tell people to that part of the. I think we've got the same on local support. Just that we need to. Well, I guess right, it depends on Bower, but we can say npm install Bower. I mean, whether the seems a question about whether representing the error message is helpful rather than just giving a fixed set of instructions to say try please install Bower if you haven't got it installed. It's funny. It's interesting though that we need it. It's like that implies that it's like you're saying it's one of the things we're trying to install needs it. So if that's specified as a dependency, then that would be installed automatically, wouldn't it?
No,
like,
I guess not. I guess they don't actually specify it as a dependency, probably.
no, but maybe they should.
They probably just like rely on you having it installed,
right?
Rather than declaring a dependency on it, because then you have to declare a version and everything.
I don't know that you do. Do you? You just declare the dependency, and then the latest version would be installed.
Maybe. I mean, you could open an issue with them.
That's right.
I think they tell you on there. Now that they tell you on their GitHub.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
They say you need Bower.
It says, oh, well, they imply that, oh, you can install with Bower. But they don't actually tell you that you need it even if you're with npm.
Your alarm sounded slightly fainter. Have you moved it away?
No.
Maybe I've got your audio on a lower setting.
Random.js. Yeah, they don't declare a Bower dependency. They just run it in a post install hook.
So we have a docs directory with installation. Do we have installation? Uh, do we not have do we not have like a so we have C9 install notes. Hmm. We have the README, and the README says development environment setup. Okay. So currently, okay, interesting.
I don't know.
Just think what we have in our installation, contributing MD. We've got project setup. Okay, so right, this is one of these things about trying to integrate all the different things that we have here. Right. What a viewer. I don't know if that's Laura or Lucia or Lucia. So, one of the things I guess here that I'm tempted to do is try and go through the install. I want to go through the install process clean, which I guess I can do on C9. We've got install notes on C9. Project setup.
If I can get everything rendered.
Hmm.
Might be able to move towards actually even changing the front end
Hmm.
to use just npm and stuff.
Hmm. As opposed to, well, at the moment we just have a lot of things in the vendor directory, right?
Yeah, and as opposed to the Rails pipeline and stuff.
Hmm. 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 I mean, the npm install is specifically for JavaScript. This would just be effectively adding another step, but it would mean that rather than the JavaScript files being checked into our repo, we would
Right.
be using a dependency management system,
Yeah.
i.e. npm, to manage them, which sounds like a good thing to be doing to allow us to have a sensible upgrade paths for them. But so in terms of like then remove, you're saying that like as a complete alternative to the asset pipeline, like
you can move in that direction to basically replace the whole asset pipeline.
But when you say replace the asset pipeline, you mean to manage CSS files and images and everything as well?
Yeah, like through gulp and stuff, you can do that.
No, okay. It looks like you can install Rails through npm. That's weird. Yeah, it would be nice to start having some, I think, React components in the front end. But so I'm looking here at the project setup, and so we've got a project setup document which is sort of generic and mentions
the whole
Go on.
the whole thing with replacing the pipeline in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Although Bigot Labs has a thing where they recommend creating it where you can either get it from the pipeline or you can get it. They have like they have examples for how to do it, like where you can both use the pipeline and npm. Like there's stuff like involved with like mapping and versioning and stuff that the asset pipeline does. And you can like combine them both because some gems have like JavaScript pipe assets built in. But the whole point is that basically once you get Rails decoupled from the asset pipeline, your front end, just use like all the stuff one talks about in like the actual JavaScript world.
Yeah.
This world, like you can use all that stuff. Then you don't have to like wait for someone to put it in a gem.
Right.
Or like figure out how to put it in a gem yourself.
Yeah. But even with npm install, that's the benefit of having npm install set up rather than replacing the asset pipeline per se.
Well, like it would be possible, to like just to get JavaScript, but you can also get like if you go full on, you can do it like you can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
With like CSS and all that too.
Right, you can have like a JavaScript front end package that's with CSS and images and everything, and then fair enough. Yeah, I'm just thinking here. What's the like if on this pull request we were to modify the documentation to indicate where the npm install should take place? I guess it's basically just after the bundle install.
Yeah. Are we going to tell them how to get npm? I mean, if it's OSX, it's just brew, right?
Right.
Brew install npm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm tempted to do is to just open up a C9 instance. I guess I'm also, there's this thing about Docker, and I mean, what I really want to be able to do here now is I'd like to be able to. So I mean, I can use C9 to go through an install process of, website 1 and sort of improve that, work out if there's something with it. I want to do the same thing on OS X, but I want to, do it in a kind of virtual environment on OS X, independently of the other things that I've globally installed. And I wonder. I wonder how to support that, but I'm not going to. What I thought I'd just do it here is this is website 1 npm testing install of website 1 with npm, including npm.
Well, Docker now runs native on Mac.
Right. Yes, and I think Docker creates a virtual environment like Vagrant, as I understand it.
Now it actually runs native on Mac.
Right, but what it does is it creates a virtual environment for you to have things in. It's like, right?
Yeah. But before it was all Linux based. But now they have a something called Xhive,
Right.
a lightweight OSX virtualization solution, which is like
Cool.
whatever that hypervisor is,
Oh yeah.
or whatever the. I think it's like the equivalent of whatever they did in Linux that like made
Right.
Docker possible.
Mm-hmm. So you've got two 1080 branches. It's the unvendor JavaScript one.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I can.
It's the unvendor JavaScript. The other one was in a branch with Bower, I think.
Sure. No, I assume. I guess I. Well, I guess the. I can just specify the. I guess I don't need to know that. I don't need to be in the branch. Like I could just throw that into here. Do they have that blank? There we go. Yeah. Well, I guess it's not a like list since we're talking about it. I don't get distracted by Docker, but while Cloud9 creates a container, then can I just install Docker, get started with Docker? Download Docker format. Yeah. Okay. Website one. Okay, so we've loaded there. So I still only got my. So if I get check out 1080. On vendor JavaScript. Yeah, okay, so we're on that branch there. So now, of course, what I'm tempted to do is just do the minimum set things and not follow these instructions. But I guess for the purpose of making just the change to this one, I guess I should follow the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a separate task to like completely run everything from scratch again. That is something that I think we may want to do. And there's also this thing Armando brought up in the meeting 10 days ago about the difference between install on, like for example, my C9 instance where I've, got Heroku keys and GitHub keys and so on sorted out versus the situation where, somebody's just logged into Cloud9 with a brand new fresh account. Anyway, so no, I'm following back. Yeah, I'm following instructions here, which tell me to. I guess these could be converted into a single operation. Yeah, I have a lot of people talk to me about React recently. You were doing a React thing
Toy.
for the, what was it, that app that you were playing with?
Was this a toy? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Hangman thing, right?
It's gonna be Hangman. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were trying to see if you could get the what's the word?
We got some testing working with it, but
Yeah.
I just stopped at the point where like should probably pick it back up with Marion.
Mm.
But we stopped at the point where like I needed to actually understand
Mm-hmm.
the like flux paradigm.
Right. What were the testing tools that you were using again?
Chai, Let me see. I think it's in here somewhere, isn't it? We made it part of Agile Ventures repo.
From your point of view, anyway, but bundle install should probably go before npm install, right?
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff. We used Enzyme, React Test Utils. We burned some time on we use Babel too, so it's using ECMAScript 6.
Mm-hmm.
Or what they call ECMAScript 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And we use Karma. So I got different stuff.
Yeah, right. So Karma, that was the one. I've used Karma for Angular.
Yeah, but there was we burnt quite a few hours on just getting the testing set up.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But I guess in principle it could be tested like with Capybara.
Like an acceptance level.
Right.
That's what John suggested for an acceptance level.
I mean, there's a, are they called Cypress? They were on JavaScript Jabber talking about having a whole, well, sort of a different approach to JavaScript testing to try and make it more reliable. And they were talking about how all the problems with flaky things at the, effectively when you're running JavaScript in a separate process and you're kind of trying to, you're then polling it to find out what's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so certainly it looks like what's it called? That C9 is a lot more stable in terms of installing gems these days. Like my experience with it before, I think there was something with the bundle, and it was forking a lot of processes, and C9 was like shutting down. You were losing access to the thread as a consequence. But that does not seem to be a problem anymore.
So we were doing that, and we were doing pairing on that.
Yeah.
And I think you ended up going away. And I worked on Thomas's Unify.
Oh yeah.
And Mary and I paired on that. So we didn't do as much on.
No. Well, maybe we can come back around on it. Well, it would be interesting to pull some React stuff into what's that one? Hey, Lara, how you doing?
Good, and you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. As it happens, we're just reviewing the install instructions for website 1, which is probably much less complex than yesterday. Although one of the things it makes it clear that we've got a lot of work to do to kind of improve the installation documentation.
So here's the diff. You see the diff on that branch so far.
Oh, the vendoring thing.
Yeah, if you go to your repo and if you do / compare on a repo, you can diff across branch stuff.
Yeah, I often do that in RubyMine. It gives me there's a nice view in RubyMine for that.
Those are all
go on. Yes.
Those are all changes. It's not that much.
Yeah, so we're now saying don't check in our node modules and those things. I guess some of the names of these things change as a function of getting them from npm instead of having them ourselves. We have a package JSON. This is your script to copy things over, and we get rid of lots of files. That yeah, cool. Yes. So particularly for Lara and other viewers benefit, yes, what we're working on here is Michael mean, I screwed up the pairing times today. Michael's been working on having a different mechanism for installing our JavaScript dependencies in the Website One project. Our friends tell us that using npm, which is the Node package manager, is the in thing to do. What I'm doing here in the background is I'm running an install of Website One on Cloud9, which is this virtual hosting solution in the cloud. And more than just a hosting solution like Heroku, it's a development solution in the cloud. So you get this environment and you can go and play around. So we're going to have a look at. So what was where is that script? So the script that you've written, Michael,
folder
is under the script.
There's a new
folder. We seem to have script and scripts now.
Yeah.
Okay.
One
So,
is like like.
Specifically Cucumber. Right.
I guess they could be consolidated.
Yes, so we can potentially, with C9, edit and manipulate and so on. Because this, yes. And the time it's taking there to install this single project, certainly, I mean, in the MOOC, I've kind of been moving towards having people sort of install things on a case-by-case basis, but they're much smaller projects. But there's not really, other thing we've got is an install. I think we've got an out-of-date install script that we need to fix. But the potential change we would be adding in here is to say in 8, which would be install JavaScript dependencies. And basically that would just involve doing this. And I guess with the caveat, as we saw on my machine, that we have to have Bower installed as well. Ensure Bower is installed. I mean, I guess for that one package, we could say to them, by the way, guys, do you want to add Bower as a dependency? Is that even worth it?
Yeah.
And then so this will become 9, 10, 11, 12. But essentially, we've got the bigger question here is about the organization of our installation documentation. Is we've ended up with these install notes for separate, we've got Ubuntu OS X and C9 there. And then we've got we've got a couple of different things that both relate to installation. And it's interesting, should one try and give an overview that's generic across the different platforms and then have separate documents with a mention of, specifics for that platform? Or should one just only have the documentation for the specific platforms and try and avoid the overview? Well, I think that's going to take a while to get in there. But this, I mean, in principle, that will work. I guess the other thing I was doing in the background was I was installing Docker, which I've now done. Which will potentially give us a virtual environment to install locally, and I could simulate. So let's get Docker in there. Docker. And then we've got a getting started tutorial. So, okay. Right, done that bit. Next bit. Docker. We start Docker. Oh, by the way, you probably saw I've moved pretty much all of the Heroku apps off the group account and onto my individual instance and added you as collaborator. Docker needs privileged access. Okay. Good. Right. Docker is starting. Click on the whale in your menu bar to access settings, feedback, and documentation. That's interesting. I'm not sure. This is just telling me the kinds of things that I can type in there. And Docker is now up and running. So is the implication that I could do this and I could see, I could do Docker info or something. Info. Ah, yep. I have a Docker. Here we go. So I could check in with here. Oh no, it looks in the meantime. Right. So we've just completed. Let me do our history here. We've just completed the install steps for C9 up to bundle install. So then we can try npm install and see what happens with C9. We'll leave. Yes. So we in fact get that error. We have to do npm install bower. We don't need to do bower install because then bower install will be run. And this is Core.js type ahead.
There's a GitHub on the right.
Right-hand side, right. This one.
Yeah, that may not really help us because we may be logged to an old version.
Right. Indeed. So now I think I've installed it. Yes, okay. So that's everything's installed there. So that makes me think that the documentation for that should say intro, and we can just put npm install bower there. Like so. So then configure the pre-installed PostgreSQL, check which version is installed. Okay, goodness me, this is it's a very involved little thing to do there. It's 9.3, and this is, so we need to run this series of commands.
So that the version is not 9.3, the second command must be
not, right, but we've got 9.3 there.
Okay.
So now, right, okay. So is this, I guess this is then a series of commands to run.
You could actually just make this into a bash script.
Well, indeed, absolutely. I mean, what would be great would be even just to make it into a make it into a template for C9, so that would be one of the options. Like we'd have an Agile Ventures. That's okay.
Yeah.
So that's that. Right. And what we're doing here at the moment is that's changing the format slightly. Like I thought this was going to be a script to run. I mean, they could all be typed in at the same time, actually. Let's not worry about that. We'll see if we can get through to the end of that. So there's the end file. Yeah, we've kind of got some sort of inconsistency here between, you know, what easier or harder. It clearly it would make sense for the whole thing to be a script, wouldn't it? And at least for the indenting to be. Well, I guess we've got a difference there between tabbing. Right, we can achieve the same effect of tabbing as we can with the backticks. Right. Let's see. Okay. So right. So
On 5 minutes.
okay. Well, let's see what's happened over here. Yeah, so that looks like that's working. Let's do the WaitDB setup. So I guess sensibly running the Jasmine might make most sense here.
That's quick.
Because it's quite quick, and presumably if the npm install has not worked according to plan, then that might fail first. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, so that's thinking about it. Meanwhile, we can go back to, so we're also looking at Docker. Up and running. Step 2, check versions of Docker. Am I getting echo from you?
Are you?
Maybe not. Docker version. Right. Docker compose. Machine. Okay. And it says, explore the operation and run examples. Yeah, we've done that. Oh, Docker run hello world. Docker, yes. Okay. Huh. Hello from Docker. Generate this message. It downloaded an image. This message shows that your installation appears to be working correctly. Okay. To try something more ambitious. Okay, so it's got their like Ubuntu Bash. This is like the start of Dockerized web server. So it's got here. Oh, okay, so presumably that pulls in a something from somewhere. Okay. But while that's having fun in the background, let's go to the Cloud9 instance again. Yeah. So that looks like the Jasmine test pass. So that would seem to imply that it's doing okay. I guess what we can do quickly is I could probably run the cucumbers in one background thing. Can I get? That's not what I wanted. I can open a new tab and just check that the site works with a new terminal by running this like so. And then if it was really friendly, it would pop up the link that I need to go to see it running. But it may be very slow because I'm doing those two things at the same time. But that seems like it's a fairly straightforward addition to the install there. So it's then if we've got that, I mean the project setup is the implication is that we just add that there. That's step 4. Step 4, install JavaScript dependencies. Consistency here, they're just doing it tabbed in. And that becomes
All right, I gotta get going.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll push up these changes into that branch
All
and
right, thanks.
open a pull request, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow at the usual time.
Um, yeah, we probably also need to make changes to CI for it to pass, and
Oh,
probably the
really?
hierarchy way. We might need to use a different build pack
Okay.
to get it to run npm install.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fairly straightforward. If you look around on
Mm.
Google, you can
Mm-hmm.
want to do that while I'm going to the doctors or whatever.
Yes. I guess I would be tempted to continue working on these different ways of checking blank installs. But the heuristic of finishing what we start says we should finish this, although it seems like it's touching a lot of different parts of our stack. Yeah, let's see. Anyway, cool. Have a
All
good
right.
visit to the doctors, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Ciao.
Right. Well, I am going to go here. I now have a couple of files in the docs directory. Let's say updates. To mention npm. Any questions or thoughts, Lara?
No, just watching.
Yeah. No worries at all. Yes, and you
Yeah,
and
but all these
oh, go on.
numbers. Sorry, all these numbers, like, where did I just see it now? Where you the docs git commit. Okay, no, like, oh no, I see it's git that's doing it. I'll ask it tomorrow. I'll see it tomorrow again. There was somewhere where I just see you on your repro. You've got like where you're doing your version, where you're doing your different branches. Everything's got numbers.
Yes, they're prefixed with numbers like this,
Yeah.
and I've
Yeah.
got here. So this is we're doing 1080 unvendor JavaScript is the name of the branch.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's a convention that we have that basically we use, like we have tickets that we're working on. So that 1080 on the branch corresponds to the ticket number that we're working on. So yeah, and that's I think we find that quite handy in that the it reduces the ambiguity about what a branch is related to. Like if you're working on a branch, it should be for a specific bug fix or a specific feature. So yeah, and then I think we also have a feature in Waffle that if you create and push that branch, it will assign you to the ticket. And there's other little things like that that are not so important. But so I think just finishing up there. Right, I've now got we're running the cucumber tests there, which are busy running away and looking greenish, which is good. And then here, I think if I want to go and see if the website is kind of working, I could go here. Is it min.tansaku C9 IO? Have you used C9 before?
No.
Yeah, it's quite and C9 users, right? It's if you don't have sort of a stable local setup, then it's a good intermediate solution to allow you to, particularly if you've got a Windows machine or what have you, it allows you to do a lot of development. So you get this little cloud environment, and no, it's not private. I don't care. Am I doing this all wrong? C9 install notes. Where are we supposed to go? Workspace name dot your C9 users.io. Yeah, that's right. I was just got confused because I've done it with HTTPS. Go there. Okay. Right, and it's hitting it and it's loading it up. So it gives you a little endpoint like you might get from Heroku, which is not really designed for people to use, but is a for testing purposes, like on a one-off basis.
Okay.
It's not unreasonable. Yes, but we can see that for the me running the two things, both the Cucumber and the other one in parallel, and the server in parallel has meant that I've reached the limit of what I can do on C9. Has it killed the actual? Let's see, which one has it killed? That one's still going. Oh, there we go. Web server loading. Yeah, this one. Have you killed this one? You have killed that one. It looks like they're approximately green. It's loading it. It's loading it. Well, since it's taking time, go back and look at Docker. So Docker pulled down this library Nginx and right. Is it actually running? Yeah. So you can see there. Now here, I've got this is the whole Azure Manager site, but running in this Cloud9 instance.
Okay.
And the fact that it looks normal is a good indication that our new install process was working, although sensibly I might be checking some of the specific what are they called? JavaScript things. Hey Raoul, how you doing?
Yes, sir. Good.
Hey, Raoul.
Hi, Laura. What you guys up to?
Coding.
Yes, well, Michael had I'd screwed up at the times preparing today, and Michael had got started on investigating pulling the JavaScript out of the vendor directory and doing an npm install. And he's kind of got that working. And I was just doing updating the documentation for that, and I just did a test install with npm install added to the instance in C9, and that appears to have worked. Although I guess look at this bootstrap date. Okay. So the thing I should do to check that some of the JavaScript is working as expected is I should try and create a new event on there, which probably it won't let me do unless I log in. But yeah, it kind of looks okay. It brings to my attention how disorganized some of our documentation is. I've also taken the opportunity to install Docker because what I really want.
Oh, you did?
Oh, I did. Yes. Oh, yeah.
I've been playing around with it for a couple of days. Was exploring the possibility of Dockerizing my development.
Yeah.
Environment.
Yeah. I've just got this Nginx web server working in Docker. Because one of the things I'm reflecting is it was very easy to create a new C9 cloud instance and test the website one install process there. What I'd like to be able to do is test the OS X and Ubuntu and other installs in a kind of clean environment, and it's sounding like Docker might be able to help me with that.
So you create containers for the application and just run it.
Yeah. Well, it seems like I can. Well, that was so while that's there in the background. I'll let me log in. It probably won't. The annoying thing about testing at one is then if I'm on a different URL, I can't log in. Can't do the kind of tests that I want. Oh well. But yeah, so I've managed to do that. So run Docker PS, and then I can see the
process.
Processes. Right. And what I'm interested in is can I just sort of create an instance and then install the things in it I want it, and then export that as a something for someone else to install?
I think you create what they call a Docker file that has all the configuration for your application, and then someone can use that to replicate the same environment.
So, but it needs to be a file. You can't. You don't take a snapshot of an instance and export that. You basically it's a file.
You can build the image as well and make it available to anyone else to use.
Right. Yes, but I'm just so here. If I thought there was one thing. If I can just run a. I thought there was a thing here that I just saw, like that was running the Nginx, and I thought, was it saying it up here? That I could just run a thing with Docker and get like a. But I could just like run a bash shell.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm just looking at my side here. Why was I doing all that Docker stuff now?
And that's to attach to an existing instance. Okay. Right. So I guess I need to pull down an image of some kind. Maybe it was. I've done that one. Right, so I have. Right, I have a couple of Docker images to build your own image. Okay, so you can build an image from the Docker. Seems like if we got like a. Can we have? But so I guess if it's Docker, we. I mean, it's running a virtual environment, but if it's running the virtual environment on OS X, is the virtual environment necessarily an OS X instance?
No. I think it's running a Linux image of some kind.
Is it always going to be a Linux image?
I mean, from all the examples that I did so far, they were using Ubuntu as a base.
Yeah.
Or any other Linux image as a base for their container stuff. Yeah.
Oh, it looks like, so it looks like we can search for right. So if I wanted to run, so in principle I could install an Ubuntu image like this. I mean, we could also say search. Oh, did it again. I can say OS X, and so interesting. Yes. So it seems like I probably can't use it to. I mean, because the OS X it's still closed source, isn't it? I think. I suspect that Apple's not interested in that being able to run in a little box.
No.
But at least for an Ubuntu one, but then presumably there's a command for which we see Docker bash access to image. How to get bash into a running container? How to associate it into it? Was there a? There's an attach update. It's fun. I thought in the setup I saw from Docker 1.3. Oh, bash. There we go. Container ID. So that seems like actually there. So we could do Docker exec. Seems like there's one just called Ubuntu. Docker exec. IT Ubuntu and then bash. No, right. I can install it. What are the other ones I've done so far? Yes, unport a web server Nginx. I'm tempted to ask there. Docker install Ubuntu. Is that what? Container. Oh, there we go. Ah, okay. Oh, here we go. That's what I wanted. That was the command that I saw for something very similar to it. That's what I was sort of looking for. So there, grab the Ubuntu image for me, and then presumably it would give me a bash
prompt so you can
so I can play with that Ubuntu instance, and then that will allow me to, for example, go through the install notes that we've got on Ubuntu here, and interesting, right? That's already got a specific thing on doing some npm install for the Phantom.js. Okay, right, and so there I am in that instance. So I could start running.
you already sudo. So.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Do that in the background. So, and then Mike was saying, if we want to have, if we do actually want to use this unvended JavaScript, then potentially we would need to look at changing the CI and also the Heroku install process. But I think with Semaphore, if I change the CI, it ends up changing it for all of them. I guess there's no harm in running npm and changing the CI so that it runs npm install.
So you can. Do we need that for all the? Is it just for this branch?
At the moment, I guess the simplest thing to do actually is just I can just run the hub pull. I'll just create a pull request for this, and then if that, and I can look at the failure. So this is
Because what I did when I was doing the exploring the coverage report is that I had to change the settings on semaphore for that build, and then I reverted back to the initial one.
Okay.
After my build was done.
Oh, that's useful to do it on a. Okay. I seem to remember that. But you can change the settings on that particular pull request and then restart it to have those taken into account, and it doesn't affect the other pull requests coming in.
The problem is that when you change it, it changes for all the projects. So you need to make sure that you change it back again for the other upcoming pull request.
I thought so. I remember Brian doing it for the upgrade to different version of Ruby. Yeah. Okay.
So what I do, I just copy them in a text file for backup, and then I
right. That makes sense. Back. Well, I think what I'll do before leaping in there and changing things is if I just put the pull request in, and then I can see where it fails, and then that tell. I mean, maybe it doesn't fail, and actually doesn't need to be changed. Rather than I always like doing less if I can possibly avoid it. Right. Yeah. So I'm going to go and make some tea. I was going to mention. Oh, go on.
I'm just going to send you a link to some videos I was looking at when playing with Docker.
Oh, cool.
I
was just going to.
Although I don't remember. I don't remember anything about it.
Oh, don't worry about it. No worries. Thank you. I was just going to say, you probably saw my Slack, but I just a double mention. So I still haven't heard back from Heroku. At least I haven't heard back from the management team about this spike in our payments, and so I've basically said, hey, my bright sunny disposition towards Heroku as I continue to teach tens of thousands of students about Heroku is under threat by your lack of response. And what I've also done is I've moved all of the instances all bar one or two out of the group account and into my individual account, but I've added you, Raoul, as a collaborator on all of those. So I don't think you'll necessarily see any difference, but if you do, obviously that's we just get in touch, and I can, if you're having trouble getting access to anything, just let me know.
Okay, cool. I did get the email earlier today.
Okay, the Slack. Yeah, cool. But yeah, that's I flagging due to its normal higher than normal kind of incidence issue. Anyway, yeah, okay. And then so yeah, Michael's off now. I mean, I could start another hangout if Lara, you're interested in continuing to observe, or
I'm going to be leaving in half an hour.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I won't probably won't worry about doing that. Although I do sometimes solo and leave that up. People can watch that on the view. We'll see. I'll go make my tea first. Anyway, good stuff. I guess I'll see you both on the morrow.
All right.
I'll just engage face.
Cheers.
Bye for now. Okay.
Ciao.
Cheers.